Imagine waking up every day, not in the comfort of your own bed, but in a cold, cramped cell. The first thing you see is the harsh gray of concrete walls, the chipped paint, and the unyielding metal of bunk beds stacked one atop the other. There's no privacy, no softness, no warmth, just the echo of footsteps and the distant clang of metal doors. For thousands, this is the soul-crushing reality that greets them every morning. The sense of isolation is overwhelming and the days blur together in a monotonous cycle of confinement and routine. Hope fades with each sunrise, replaced by a growing sense of resignation. The air inside is thick, not just with the smell of disinfectant, but with a heavy, unspoken despair. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie or a cautionary tale, it's the daily existence inside America's newest federal prison, a place designed less for rehabilitation and more for containment. Here, punishment extends far beyond the loss of freedom. It's a relentless, grinding assault on your humanity. Every rule, every restriction, every moment of surveillance is a reminder that you are no longer in control of your own life. The towering walls and coils of barbed wire don't just keep people in, they squeeze out any remaining hope, leaving only a hollow shell of what once was a person. The outside world feels impossibly distant, and the idea of a second chance seems like a cruel fantasy. Fear is a constant companion here. It's not just the fear of violence from other inmates, but a deeper, more insidious fear. Fear of the system itself. Fear of getting sick and being denied care, of being forgotten by family and society, or of simply going hungry because resources are scarce. The promises of rehabilitation and reform ring hollow when you're fighting for basic necessities, like an extra slice of bread or a moment of compassion from a guard. The system is supposed to correct behavior, but instead it seems designed to break spirits and crush any sense of self-worth. In the cafeteria, surrounded by dozens of others, you can still feel utterly alone. Meals are rushed, portions are small, and the atmosphere is tense. Even here where people gather, the sense of isolation is palpable. This isn't about justice or redemption, it's about survival. Every day is a test of endurance, both physically and mentally. The system doesn't just punish, it erodes hope, dignity, and the very will to keep going. The real prison isn't just made of concrete and steel. It's built inside the minds of those trapped here, brick by brick, through deliberate policy and a national indifference to their suffering. The psychological toll is immense, and the scars often last a lifetime. This is the modern American prison, a system that has perfected control not by offering hope or a path to redemption, but by crushing it entirely. It's a nightmare that too many are forced to live, hidden behind high walls and razor wire, out of sight and out of mind. How did we get here? Through government policies that made prison life worse in the name of being tough on crime. Politicians slash budgets for programs that help, gutting rehabilitation, education, and job training. Instead, money goes to more security and surveillance, making life inside unbearable. Overcrowding is now worse than ever, with more people crammed into smaller spaces and fewer resources. The system isn't just failing to rehabilitate, it's making people worse, ensuring they leave more broken than before. All this is done under the guise of public safety, but it only fuels a cycle of reoffense. These policies aren't just cruel, they're self-defeating, creating bigger problems for society. Life inside these prisons isn't just uncomfortable, it's unsafe. Underfunding and deregulation have turned facilities into breeding grounds for disease and violence. Sanitation is an afterthought. Mold, broken plumbing, and spoiled food are routine. Overcrowded dorms and a bare-bones medical system mean illness spreads unchecked. Violence is inevitable when people are packed together, stripped of hope, and forced to fight for scraps. Staff, overworked and underpaid, often escalate rather than calm tensions. Living in filth, hunger, and fear erode self-worth and make survival the only focus. Promises of rehabilitation are meaningless when basic needs aren't met. Unsafe conditions define the entire prison experience. Now let's talk about the privatization of prison food, a billion-dollar industry that operates mostly out of sight, but impacts hundreds of thousands of lives every single day. When we think about prisons, we often focus on bars, guards, and cells. But behind the scenes, there's a massive business quietly profiting from the basic needs of incarcerated people: food. Companies like Aramark and other major food service providers step in with big promises. They claim they'll save taxpayers money and run things more efficiently than the government ever could. But if you look closer, their real goal isn't to provide nutritious meals or improve lives, it's to maximize profit, often at the expense of those who have no choice but to eat what they're given. To squeeze out every possible dollar, these companies cut corners wherever they can. They buy the cheapest, lowest quality ingredients available, shrink portion sizes to the bare minimum, and hire as few staff as possible, sometimes leaving kitchens dangerously understaffed. The result? Meals that are barely enough to sustain a person, let alone nourish them. The contracts these companies sign with state and local governments often lack strict standards or meaningful oversight. This loophole allows them to serve food that's sometimes cold, undercooked, or even spoiled. Food that would never be acceptable in a school or hospital cafeteria. Across the country, the stories are disturbingly similar. Inmates report being served moldy bread, rotten meat, and meals so small they leave people hungry. There are even reports of food contaminated with maggots or foreign objects leading to illness and malnutrition. The promise of better quality for less money is, in reality, a cruel illusion. Instead of improving conditions, privatization has led to widespread suffering and indignity for those behind bars. Yet, governments across the nation continue to sign these contracts, buying into a system where private corporations profit by cutting costs and ultimately, by starving people who are already at society's margins. It's a grotesque business model, one that's funded by our tax dollars. Instead of supporting rehabilitation or basic human dignity, our money is funneled into the pockets of corporations that see misery as a market opportunity. The result is a daily, dehumanizing reminder to inmates that, in the eyes of the system, their well-being is worth less than a company's bottom line. For many, every meal is a message. You are less than human, and your suffering is someone else's profit. What does this cost-effective food look like? In a word, revolting. Meals are often spoiled, undercooked, or contaminated with insects and plastic. Boxes of meat labeled "not for human consumption" end up on trays. Fresh produce is rare. Most meals are cheap starches and mystery meat. Many meals don't even meet basic caloric needs, leaving people constantly hungry. Malnutrition leads to weakened immune systems, chronic disease, and physical decline. Food becomes a form of punishment, breaking bodies as well as spirits. Lawsuits document rat-infested kitchens and visibly rotten food being served. This isn't just neglect, it's a deliberate disregard for basic humanity. After a barely edible meal, where do hungry inmates turn? The commissary, often run by the same company that provides the food. It's a two-step business model. Create hunger, then sell the solution at a markup. Commissary prices are wildly inflated, forcing families to pay dearly for basic survival. This system monetizes deprivation, turning hunger into profit. Private companies double-dip paid by the government, then again by desperate inmates. The result is total economic and physiological control. Inmates are kept hungry enough to comply, too weak to resist. Their daily struggle for food is, by design, incredibly profitable for someone else. If conditions are so bad, why don't prisoners complain? They do. But the grievance system is a bureaucratic black hole. Complaints are ignored, dismissed, or lost in paperwork. Filing a grievance can invite retaliation, loss of privileges, or being moved to more dangerous units. The message: keep quiet or suffer more. Legal action is nearly impossible thanks to laws that make lawsuits against prisons a dead end. The system is built to protect itself, not those inside. With no recourse, most people stop trying. Powerlessness and silence allow abuse and neglect to flourish. When you look at the harsh reality of prison life, the endless routines, the constant surveillance, the suffocating sense of isolation, the real question isn't why no one escapes. Instead, it's how anyone manages to survive day after day, in a place designed to break the human spirit. The walls are high, the rules are strict, and hope can feel like a distant memory. Yet somehow people find ways to keep going, to endure what seems unendurable. Survival here becomes an act of quiet rebellion. It's found in the small, everyday choices, sharing a meal with someone who has less, forming support networks that offer comfort and protection, and creating routines that bring a sense of normalcy to an otherwise chaotic world. People adapt in remarkable ways, reading to escape into other worlds, exercising to maintain a sense of control over their bodies, cooking with commissary items to create a taste of home, or even teaching each other new skills. These acts, though simple, are powerful statements of resilience. Through these activities, they hold on to their humanity, refusing to let the system strip away their sense of self. Reading a book, writing a letter, or looking at a cherished photograph becomes a way to remember who they are beyond the prison walls. These small acts are lifelines, threads of connection that keep people tethered to hope and to each other. A shared word, a quiet gesture, or a simple game can mean everything in a place where kindness is rare. But the truth is, no one should have to be this strong just to survive. The burden of resilience is heavy, and it's a weight that no one should be forced to carry alone. Survival happens in spite of the system, not because of it. Memories of family, the sound of a loved one's voice, or the feel of a letter from home become precious treasures, reminders of a world beyond the bars. It's these memories and the hope for freedom that keep people going. Even when the days blur together and the future seems uncertain, the thought of reuniting with loved ones fuels the will to endure. The prison system tries to extinguish that hope, to make people forget what it feels like to dream. But escape isn't the goal for most. It's the daily act of survival that becomes the full-time job. Each day is a challenge, and the focus narrows to simply getting through it. 1 hour, one meal, one conversation at a time. Marking days on a calendar, making a bed, or following a routine becomes a way to measure progress, to prove that time is still moving forward. The passage of time is both a comfort and a torment. Every crossed-off day is a small victory, a reminder that survival is possible, even here. In the end, enduring the unendurable becomes the only way forward. It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a quiet, persistent refusal to be broken, no matter how harsh the world becomes. We have a prison system that manufactures despair, profits from hunger, and silences those inside. This crisis isn't hidden. Reports and lawsuits are everywhere. Yet it continues because society chooses to look away. Politicians score points, corporations profit, and the public forgets. The cycle of deprivation and profit is no accident. It's the system we've allowed. Our moral responsibility has been outsourced along with the food. The survival of those inside is a testament to their strength. But the existence of these conditions is a stain on our conscience. The real question: how much longer will we tolerate it?